Welcome back. And now let's start the program in earnest.
Yes.
After we tell you how you can be part of the program.
Yes, indeed. Our Twitter handles are showing on the screen. You can tweet at us or send us a mail. The phone lines will come open in the course of the program. When you call, please go straight to the point. Make your contribution or ask your questions. We will hear you and the guest will respond to that. But our Twitter handles will be there. Please send a tweet. Keep it short, keep it simple. I'll be very, very grateful.
Good, so we're looking at trade relations within the West African region. Since the early 1990s, many countries in West Africa have made significant progress in opening up their economy to external competition through trade and exchange rate liberalization, often in the context of IMF and World Bank's support programs. At the same time, with the creation of expansion of a number of regional trading arrangements in the other parts of the world, several African nations have also worked towards this, resulting in the establishment or renewal of such trading arrangement in Africa too. Now, to look at this with us this morning, I'd like to welcome the PRO of the Nigeria Customs Service, Mr. Wale Adeniyi. Good morning.
Good morning, Alero.
And also with us is a maritime journalist, Ismail Animu.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Good.
Now, we share borders with Benin on one side, Cameroon on the other, not to mention those in the north. How productive have trade relations been between us and our neighbors?
Yeah, I think I like to look at it this way. When we look at international trade relations, neighbors have always been their greatest trading partners. If you look at a country like the US, the biggest trading partners are Canada and Mexico. If you look at Brazil, Argentina buys more and sells more to Brazil than any other country. So there are times, if you look at the EU, in England, France and Germany, they are the two biggest trading partners of each other. So there are times you can't run away from the fact that you have neighbors and you have to coexist with those neighbors, and in the process of coexisting, there will be trade relations. So it is not by accident that we do a lot of things with Benin Republic, with Togo, with Ghana, or if you like, with other countries in the sub-region, in the western sub-region.
How much are we really doing? There's plenty of informal trading going on, like Alero buys a whole lot of detergent powder from Nigeria and flies it to Guinea or somewhere. But how much informal, that can be accounted for in terms of naira and kobo or dollars or whatever currency they all do this trading in?
Unfortunately, if you are looking at a formalized trade, in terms of statistics, it's less than 10% of what each of us do with other parts of the world. So the volume of formal trade is indeed very low. But like I said, because we have centuries of relationship with each other, we have some Yoruba-speaking people, Hausa-speaking people across the divide. So we have a lot of exchanges happening between us. So the informal one, is huge, but it's never captured. It's not captured because, when Alero is crossing, you just feel that, look, I'm just going to my kinsmen in Benin Republic. I just want to go and sell, this basket of things. And when I'm coming back, I also buy some stuff and things like that. So nobody wants to stop for customs or any agency of government. And this is really, really very huge. But the former one, which is coming under the auspices of those trade agreements that you talked about, is gradually increasing, and the intention of these trade agreements is to encourage those the trades between us so that we can benefit from advantage of big economy of scales, the market access that we have in Nigeria and the sub-regional markets.
Now, Mr. Animu, the agreement has been reworked, in quotes. Now, what kind of improvements are we expecting to see as a result of this?
Yeah, we look forward to seeing Benin Republic keeping to the terms of the agreement. This is not the first time that Nigeria had talks with Benin Republic, but somewhere along the line they tend to deviate from the pact. You know, they see Nigeria as a big brother, and they find it difficult to understand that Nigeria has our own challenges, and sometimes they tend to compete with us in a way that doesn't favor our own national economy. If you are close to the former CCG of Customs and the way things ran, Nigeria had an agreement that vehicles being shipped into the country through Benin Republic must be handed over to Nigerian officials via the border. It worked for a while. We had duty payments and all that. All of a sudden, they went back to the old way, the old order. We lose a lot of duty. We lose employment too, because we have two of the largest ports in the West African sub-region. But unfortunately, these ports are still underutilized. A lot of persons still prefer to ship in their vehicles, used vehicles meant for Nigerian use, through Benin. So we are losing so much, and they are taking advantage of this. They're maximizing this. We look forward to seeing them keeping to the terms of the recently signed pact with the government.
Mr. Demi, do you see all these leakages, especially at Seme-Border? Because Seme-Border seems to play a very important role in what we're talking about. Do you see these leakages really being plugged?
Yeah, I'm happy that Mr. Animu mentioned those agreements. There will be leakages for as long as there are gaps between the Customs Administration of Nigeria and the Customs Administration of Benin. The more we work together closely, the more we have the opportunity to close all those leakages that we have observed. What happens before is that when you pay all your charges to Benin Republic, all the applicable charges on vehicles, and then they let you go. Then you cannot begin to go through some bush, decide to compromise some officers at the borders, you can shoot your way through, kill some, and all of that. But what the agreement now says is that if you are transiting your vehicles through Benin Republic, the Benin Republic Customs, they have an obligation to get those vehicles and bring them to the border of your choice. You can come to Seme, you can come to Idiroko, or any approved border. Then you now hand over to Nigeria. Benin Republic have finished their obligations. We can now continue.
You can start yours.
Yes.
How effective has the customs service been in carrying all of it? Because a lot of people will say the customs has been complicit in all of this.
Yes, the agreement started, the agreement was signed a year ago, about July 2015. It was respected for some time. And then over the last few months, there are complaints that they lacked the logistics to escort those vehicles to Nigeria. But when we went back last month, we made it very, very clear that implementation, honoring of the commitments, their commitments in that agreement will be the only basis of our relationship with them. So I would say that it's working now. The week we got back, 147 vehicles were escorted to Seme-Border alone. I don't have the stats for Idiroko. But when we say 147 vehicles, if each of them is paying 300, 400,000, we are looking at something close to $1 billion revenue on that alone. So it has a lot of prospect for us. And the beautiful thing about this is that